Great show for you today, guys. Big show, man. It's getting crazy out here in the combat sports world. The UFC has got everybody on tilt, man. Brandon Schaub is crashing out. Brandon Schaub is completely crashing out. Man, we're going to get into that. We're getting to Joe Rogan being extremely, his words, Joe Rogan is nervous about the White House card. We're going to get into that. I got a little quick story about this cat shirt right here. And this shirt may reveal some secrets about human nature. And when you hear the truth about this shirt, it might, I'm not being, this isn't hyperbole or me trying to amp this up. This actually will like change your perspective on a lot of things. It was a big learning moment for me. Chael Sonnen, the American gangster, the bad guy Inc., calls Ronda Rousey a bitch. His words. Man, MVP, which is Jake Paul's promotion, MVP's CEO, Nikisa, calls out Conor McGregor. He wants Conor McGregor to not only box Jake Paul, he wants Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul in MMA, but there's a huge problem. We're going to get into that, and it's not just the contracts. There's an even bigger problem. And yeah, we have a very big show for you today, a great show. So make sure you subscribe and bang that bell so you get notifications. And here's the thing, right? I keep it very real on this show. I don't tell you what you want to hear. Like I told you the other day that I believe the Ilia Topuria versus Jake Paul beef, if they spar, Jake Paul will win and win impressively. These other guys, they're just out here trying to tell you what you want to hear, so you like, comment, and subscribe, right? But what I'm saying is I only want real ones. I only want people that can handle the truth, right? So go ahead and tap the notifications if that's you, so you can hop on the chat with me. You know when I'm going live. You never miss a live. And you can always come in here and we can have a dialogue instead of a monologue because I'm looking to connect. Let's go. Furthermore, big sponsors of the show, Studio Millions, guys. Studio Millions. If you know a gym owner, send them to Studio Millions. Studio Millions will pack their gym full of students who stay, pay, and refer. The gym owner will absolutely love you for it. Furthermore, Fight Circus, home of the freak show fights. Let me grab this right here. The Felony Charles Bennett tees from Fight Circus. These are banned by BKFC. Fight Circus, home of the freak show fights, and they do not sponsor me, but I drink a lot of Zevias, guys. This is actually only my third Zevia of the day. I had that other energy drink we're not going to talk about because they have 150 calories in them, but they have 160 milligrams of caffeine. These have 120, but they have 0 calories. So that's why we like the Zevias. They taste great and they get you highly caffeinated. So let's get right into it. Brandon Schaub is absolutely crashing out. And I know you guys, a lot of people got a problem with Brandon, right? And, you know, there's a lot of criticism of him online. A lot of people say that he is in the position he's in only because of Joe Rogan. People are saying that his comedy specials aren't funny. People go in on Brandon Schaub, right? And Brandon Schaub is going in on the UFC. Brandon Schaub is crashing the F out about the UFC White House card. He says that the UFC is done. He says, this is his words, Paramount has ruined the UFC. The deal with Paramount Plus has ruined the UFC. And he gets into who he would have liked on the White House card, how the UFC, in his perception, fumbled the bag. We're going to get all into that right now. So Brandon Schaub said that the UFC not only did a terrible job with this White House card, that Paramount has ruined the UFC. He says 8 years ago, this was just an average pay-per-view card. This was just what we get, right? Like this is what we've come to expect. He says that this card is no different than what any other pay-per-view card would be. And a lot of people online agree with him. A lot of people online were expecting something different. Now, why would people expect something different? Brandon says that the reason why everybody should be pissed off is because Dana White himself promised us the best card in UFC history, and Brandon believes this is not the best card. Brandon says this is not the biggest card, and Dana White, and then he even played a clip where Dana's saying, dude, this is going to be the biggest and best card, the White House. You know how me and Trump are going to do it, man. Trump's involved. We're going to do it real big. And so Brandon says that they promised a lot. They didn't deliver. This card is essentially a setup for a Spaniard to starch an American, and he means Ilia Topuria will likely starch Justin Gaethje on the White House, and that's not a very American thing to have happen at the White House or in front of President Trump. Furthermore, Brendan Schaub went on to say that not only did the Paramount deal and Paramount's desire to please the stockholders rather than the fans ruin the UFC, and the UFC is currently essentially done at this point. They're just collecting checks because they have guaranteed money coming in with the $7 billion deal that they're not even trying, right? They're just trying to lower costs so that their profits are sky high for shareholders. But Brandon went down the list and he started to explain what he feels the UFC did exactly wrong in his kind of dream card for the White House, which, guys, listen to this. John Jones versus Alex Pereira. He says the UFC could have got John Jones. He says it could have been John Jones versus Francis Ngannou. He says that they could have had Ronda. They could have had Conor. They could have had John Jones. They could have had Francis. That's Brandon Schaub's take. What do you guys think? Would that be the White House? Would that be the best White House card in the history of cards? I mean, that would be a crazy ass card. Brandon, I like his matchmaking, man. The problem is Brandon's not in charge of the pocketbook, right? So the UFC, maybe they got some numbers that they got to hit, and in terms of cost versus profitability, I heard they're losing $30 million on the White House card, that it takes actually $900,000 to $1 million just to repair the lawn of the White House after the UFC has their event there, like taking down the octagon and then repairing the lawn. It's just $1 million, right? So they're expecting to lose $60 million and recoup the $60 million by $30 million in sponsorships and brand deals. But because they don't have any ticket sales, they're not going to make any money on ticket sales. So they're losing 30 mil. Brendan Schaub says, hey, man, listen, this is the White House. You should have John Jones versus Francis. You should have John Jones versus Alex, right? These are the fights that people wanted. That would be a big card. John Jones versus Francis Ngannou main event. Co-main event. Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, which that would be a big fight. But for me, that's not the White House fight. We can have Conor on the card, but he can't fight an American, right? Unless the American is like Dustin Poirier or somebody who has a high likelihood of beating him. But then that's not in the UFC's best interest either. So maybe have Conor versus a guy from a different country that he could just spark, make Conor look good, bring him back, right? Oh, big Conor was at the White House, biggest card ever. Ronda Rousey was down to fight. They passed on Ronda Rousey. Now, Brandon says that's a huge mistake because you could have had John Jones, Conor, Ronda Rousey, Francis Ngannou, and that's the type of White House card we were expecting. Furthermore, Joe Rogan speaking out about the White House card. Man, on a recent podcast, somebody asked Joe, man, are you excited about this card? And Joe's like, dude, I'm nervous. And they're like, what? It's a great card, right? Joe's got security concerns. Joe's kind of freaking out about the fact that the United States is currently in an overseas war in the Middle East, and that everybody kind of important is going to be in the same place at the same time. And he's worried about what the security clearance is going to look like, how secure the venue is going to be, if the war is still going to be going on over there by that time. And yeah, it was a different take than what a lot of people were expecting Joe Rogan to say, because, you know, a lot of people would expect him to be a company guy and go, oh, it's the greatest card, right? Well, he came out and was like, dude, I got security concerns and I'm worried about the war, right? Which is maybe not what the administration would want Joe Rogan to say publicly, guys. So he's got his take on the White House card. Brendan Schaub absolutely crashed out. Man, also, They were Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman were interviewing Bo Nickel, and Bo Nickel tried to be a company guy. He tried to, oh, this is a great card, right? And they were like, come on, bro. Come on, dog. And then Bo Nickel admitted he would have liked to see a different card, right? He would have liked to see some other guys on the card other than the current card, right? So everybody's kind of speaking out about this, right? But what's the UFC going to do about it? And furthermore, how does the UFC handle the fact that MVP Jake Paul's promotion is actively pursuing UFC fighters. They just put an offer out to John Jones, like not an actual contract, but hey, come over to MVP. If you get released from UFC, we'd love to have you. They got Ronda. They got Francis Ngannou. You know, UFC is apparently not giving the people what they want with the White House card. A lot of people are upset. Maybe if Justin Gaethje sparks Ilia Topuria, everybody's emotions and feelings will turn about that. Their perception of the UFC White House card will turn. But until then, man, people are speaking out. Even Bo Nickel, company guy on the White House card, is speaking out. He thinks maybe Kamaru Usman should have been on there, right? You know, a lot of guys. What about Kobe, man? Brandon Schaub was talking about Kobe Covington, like, no, who, or Michael Chandler. Out of those two guys, they're running around saying they're the Trump guy. I'm for Trump. I'm Trump, right? And then they're not even on the White House card. Man, come on, man. Throw those guys a bone, right? That's kind of Brandon's take. But Brandon went hard. So if you haven't seen that, man, that's a pretty interesting episode. He definitely does not hold back on that one. Furthermore, Chael Sonnen, the American gangster, Bad Guy Inc., calls Ronda Rousey a bitch. He said it. He said those words. And he actually said she's a bitch, and I love it. Right? Because he's excited that Ronda is talking all this shit right before she's going to go fight Gina Carano. And Chael says that Ronda did the right thing by speaking out against the UFC, which is crazy because Chael, hey, listen, man, are we having like a revolt happen? You know what I mean? Is this what is causing everybody to revolt against the UFC? Bo Nickel's speaking out, Joe Rogan speaking out, Brendan Schaub speaking out, Chael Sonnen speaking out, and Brandon has been critical in the past, right? So I'm not saying that that's super crazy, but to hear Joe Rogan and Chael Sonnen, man, come on. And, you know, Bo Nickel speaking out, listen, maybe just throw John Jones a few mil and put him at the top of the card, guys. Make everybody chill out. You know what I mean? But Chael says that Ronda was being a bitch and he loved it because she was coming at everybody. And she is making it MVP versus the UFC. She's saying that that MVP and Jake Paul's promotion are the best place for fighters to be right now. And my question about this is, who else have they signed? They've signed Ronda and they've signed Francis, but it's not like an actual, at least not yet, a viable place for fighters to go. It's not like you're one fight away from Contender Series and then you can go sign with MVP currently, right? It's like, well, if you're a megastar already and you were going to get a megastar deal that may not have been perfect at UFC, or you can get a megastar deal at Netflix, which they might overpay you. You can take the Netflix megastar deal, but you're already a megastar, right? So like, what's that got to do with the dudes on the undercard? What's that got to do with the up and coming fighters? What's that got to do with somebody who is a top prospect, right? That's kind of the vibe of the MVP problem, right? Like, are they going to have more than one card, or are they just trying to throw mega fights to keep people interested in their Netflix subscription? Because it's a different model, right? So to get people to buy a pay-per-view, right, you have to incentivize them like, hey, we want to make money. We need a Conor McGregor on here, versus a situation where everybody already has a Netflix account and you kind of just got to give them a couple shocking things every once in a while to make them not cancel. Okay. So to get someone to buy every month a new pay-per-view for 70, 80 bucks is different than getting somebody to not cancel every 3 to 6 months. You know, and I'm sure Netflix knows their numbers and they know exactly when to time these events to make people go like, oh, I was about to cancel, but you know what? I'm going to keep it for one more month. They forget about it for 3 months. Oh, another event happens right before they were about to cancel. So it's a different business model, right? Speaking of different business models, they are Nikisa, who is the CEO of MVP, and he works with Jake Paul. He used to actually be a part of the UFC, and Dana's gone in on him, and he's got a clap back before. That's an old story. We're not going to talk about that. But recently, he says that he wants Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul in both boxing and MMA, and that to me is indicative of what they're trying to do. Okay, so there is big name brand company. Let's call it McDonald's, right? And you're coming up. And let's say you are a smaller company like In-N-Out burger. You start comparing yourself to McDonald's. We're better than McDonald's. Our ingredients are fresher. We make everything to order. There's no heat lamps, right? McDonald's, you know, and that's how you get McDonald's to react to you. That's how you get to brand yourself against them and get some of their name brand. And that's what MVP and Jake Paul are doing with the UFC right now. So it is a very strategic battle happening because they keep calling out UFC. They keep calling out the fighters that are at the end of their contract. They keep calling out the disgruntled fighters. Now, are they ever going to sign Conor or Jon Jones? Highly unlikely, but it doesn't mean that they can't get free media by doing it. So by calling out Conor, calling out Jon Jones might actually retweet them and entertain it. Jon Jones might actually have his lawyers try and get him released so he can go fight Francis in MVP on Netflix. You know what I mean? So even if the fight doesn't happen, guys, they're getting free publicity off of the UFC's name, off of the UFC stars. The UFC has put millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars into building their brand. And now MVP, because Jake Paul knows what he's doing, is going to keep chirping at the UFC. Sign the stars he can. Who cares that Ronda hasn't fought in however long? Who cares Gina hasn't fought in 15 years? Their names, right? And the UFC could have signed him and put him on the White House card. And now they're like, hey guys, they didn't give you the fights you wanted, but we're giving you the fights you wanted. We've got Francis Ngannou, we've got Gina Carano, we've got Ronda Rousey, we've got verbal offers out to Jon Jones, we've got verbal offers out to Conor McGregor. Listen, we want to make the big fights that you want, and the UFC only cares about profits, right? So that's kind of what MVP as a whole is going after. You know what I mean? And listen, man, love it or hate it, a lot of people would say it's a smart strategy. Now, listen, are they going to overtake UFC? Well, probably not. But do they need to? No. They just need to keep people subscribed to Netflix, and then they keep securing the bag. Jake Paul knows how to keep himself relevant. Dana White probably shouldn't even respond to any of this. But the media is going to keep asking about it because Jake knows how to play the media, right? So this is turning into a business chess game. And I'm very, very curious to see what happens with Jon Jones and Conor McGregor in the future. Because UFC's also in an antitrust lawsuit, which means they're being sued for being a monopoly. And now if they're trying to keep these fighters who they say are done, where they're verbally coming out and saying like, Jon Jones is done, he'll never fight again. And Jon Jones is like, well then release me from my contract. Now the antitrust lawsuit, Jake Paul knows how to play these things. Man, Jake Paul is a big-ass annoyance, I'm sure, for Dana White. And honestly, man, that's a crazy fight. If they did do Jake Paul versus Conor, and obviously in MMA, Conor smokes him, right? That's a one-sided, minute and a half fight. In boxing, that's an interesting fight because Nate Diaz beat Conor once. Nate Diaz, in a lot of people's hearts and minds, beat Conor twice. And Jake Paul claims he dog-walked Nate Diaz, and and on record, he has a win over him, right? So I don't know if you guys would call it a dog-walking, but if he does well against Nate, and Nate's done well against Conor, MMA math, guys, boxing math, can Jake Paul actually beat Conor? Obviously not in MMA, but in a boxing match at this point. I want to see Conor fight again, guys. I want to see Conor come back, International Fight Week. I would have loved to have seen Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. I'd love to see, honestly, man, I don't even know. The biggest fight they can do is Conor versus Nate, right? But are they actually going to do that? Or are they going to try and feed Conor to somebody that they're going to build? Which is what I heard they were trying to do with Carlos Paredes, right? But that fight didn't happen. The Chandler fight didn't happen. So are they going to try and maximize a one fight, Conor McGregor versus Nate, or Conor McGregor versus Dustin 3? Or are they going to try and build their next star by letting Conor fight an absolute monster who's a bad stylistic matchup for him, but they believe has a future? Man, that's 300 milligrams right here, plus the other 160 I had. That's 460. That's 520 so far, guys. I'm just saying, man. All the best people are in the 1,000 milligram a day club. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not a doctor. Definitely do not drink 1,000 milligrams of caffeine per day. You know, I'm just saying maybe that's what I like to do, guys. Okay, you know, we all do what we like to do. What are my thoughts? What are my thoughts on caffeine, bro? I love it. My thoughts on caffeine. What are my thoughts on what are my thoughts on what exactly, brother? Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat right now. You know, we're getting the chat system going. I got the little screen behind me right now. So the wait, you 2,000? Oh man, you big dog then, bro. I'm calling cap, bro. 2,000 milligrams. 2,000 milligrams, bro. 2,000 milligrams. Dog, bro. I'm from the Show Me State. Love from London, man. Shout out to London, bro. Hey, man. You know, you guys got a lot of crazy stuff going on over there in London, from what I heard. Now, I don't get political because all politics is jester, obviously. But yeah, man. Shout out to London. I actually went out to London before it got super crazy, and you know, it was what was wild to me about London is that we went on like a tour of the Tower of London. We went to see everything, right? But the Tower of London stood out to me because like we're so detached from history these days that like when you're face to face with like actual brutal history, it's kind of wild. So we're at the Tower of London and there's this stone block off to the side, right? And the stone block has these like etching marks in it. And they stop us at the stone block and they're like, you know, all right, now off to your right, to my left, you'll see the whatever they called it, right? The council stone or something, right? And it's like, oh, cool, the council stone or whatever name it was. And it's like, oh, this is where the executioner would do the beheadings. So, you know, whoever, Mary the Eighth was beheaded on this block. As you can see, there's axe marks in the block, and the oxidation is actually dried blood. Moving on. And then it's like, what, bro? What? You just casually told me that people have actually been beheaded on this freaking block at the Tower of London? Like, actual people who are in history books were done dirty. Like, what the F, man? RIP to everybody that met that block, man. That was like history hitting you right in the face, man. Like an electric shock. Like, whoa, man. You ever lick a battery? Right? Like, whoa. You're like, that was like, boom. Man, that was crazy. That was crazy. And then they took us into the I guess it's London Castle, Tower of London. They took us inside, and inside, dude, like there's this thing. It's like this tall, right? Like if I stand up, this is like barely above waist level, right? And it looks like a gate in a wall with a little, I don't know, cave carved out, like a tiny thing. It's like maybe 4 feet deep by like 4 feet high or something, you know, maybe 3.5 feet high. And it's got like iron gates on it. And they were like, hey, yeah, so when, maybe it was the same lady who got the same queen that got beheaded, but they were like, let's just call her Mary. Hey, when Mary accused Henry VIII of cheating, this is where she was locked up for 11 years or 13 years. And it was like, what? What? This dude was cheating on his wife. She alleged he was doing that, which he was. And then because she accused him of that, like she was put into a hole in the wall that she couldn't even stand up in for 11 years. And I believe either her or someone else, but for someone else for sure, that was beheaded, bro. Like, and then they take you into another room and they're like, and here's the crown jewels. And the jewels are blinging, man. And they've got like just diamond out, like, you know, crowns and scepters and just like, it was just thrones, like diamond and ruby thrones. Just, it was incredible. So you just see this juxtaposition of like the brutality and the like inhumaneness versus like the decadence of the jewels. So that was like one of my biggest takeaways from London was that was wild. That and the mushy peas was, you know, that was interesting. The food in London. I like fish and chips. Other than that, I don't know, guys. I don't know, London. I don't know London, man. Great city. Great city. Love the London Eye. Great city. But come on, man. We got to step the food game up. I ate at TGI Fridays 11 times in 7 days. So, that was my London experience. It was crazy to see the Tower of London. If you've never been to London, go see the Tower of London. Go on the tour there. It is intense. And yeah, man, it is definitely a shock to your system at how removed from history we actually are. Furthermore, guys, I told you I was going to tell you a story about the shirt. This shirt I just randomly saw it and I was like, I wonder what will happen if I buy this shirt and wear this shirt. And I just started doing it every once in a while. And it quickly became one of my favorite shirts because this shirt, I get more freaking compliments on this shirt than any shirt I've ever worn. Okay, I'm talking, I've got Versace, I've got Dolce & Gabbana, I've got Burberry, I got it all. This shirt gets more compliments than anything. So that just kind of shows you guys about like human nature, right? Like what the vibe really is. This is an alien riding a cat on a rainbow through the universe, So that's a crazy little social experiment that I did. And what's even more interesting than that is I'm walking around with this shirt and, people are coming up and complimenting me. They're just starting conversations with me based on this shirt, right? Like I'm talking, if I wear this out to like Whole Foods or I go to the mall or something, I might get 3 to 4 compliments in one day just on this shirt. Like people, oh my God, people stop me. They want to take a picture with the shirt. I'm like, oh, can I take a picture with you with the shirt? Right? Like it's wild. And then I'm online on Instagram and there's a dude in Vegas. He's like the biggest playboy in all of Vegas, right? Like internationally known superstar player of the year, right? Verified, certified. No one can doubt this dude's credentials, right? This guy is the top dog when it comes to having a freaking social life full of women in Vegas. His name's Michael Sartain. And Michael Sartain was going to come do red carpet hosting for Fight Circus when I was performing at Fight Circus last in Vegas. And the interesting thing, much love. Hey, man, love you too. Let's go. Man, we just spreading love out here. Good vibes only, guys. And yeah, so I'm watching Michael Sartain's podcast, right? There's clips on Instagram. And I see this dude rocking a cat shirt. And I'm like, how did two alpha male geniuses, without talking to each other about this subject, come to the same conclusion that cat shirts are the most just vibiest thing to do that you could possibly do? And I haven't even talked to him about it since, right? It's crazy because like Jordan Peterson talked to Jocko and they got to the same point independently about the ability to communicate is a superpower, right? And Jocko feels that way and Jordan Peterson feels that way, but they had never had a previous discussion about it. But two people who excel in their fields both got to the same truth. So the truth is here. And it's like after a certain while of moving forward in life, you get to the same truth. And the same truth that me and Michael Sartain got to was that cat shirts are the way to go. Anyways, guys, that's the live. Brandon Schaub crashed out. Make sure you send your your coaches and your gym owners to Studio Millions. Check out Fight Circus for freak show fights. And most importantly, if you're a real one and you can handle the truth and you don't need me to blow sunshine up your ass and, smack you on your butt and tell you you're pretty, right? If you can handle the truth, I only want real ones, okay? I want the strongest community in the game. So if that's you, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, bang that bell so you can hop in the chat. When I'm going live, it'll notify you. Bang the bell. It feels so good. It'll change colors and you'll get notifications, right? Then you can hop on and we'll have a dialogue instead of a monologue. We'll get to know each other. I'm looking to connect. Let's go. Love you guys. Peace.